Hearing the system's voice, a faint, involuntary smile touched my lips. Carter saw it. His jaw clenched tight, and he forcefully tilted my chin up, making me look at him. You're smiling? You just killed our child and you're smiling? What is this, Nora? Is this your sick way of punishing me? How could it be? I thought tiredly. This was just the only ending left for us. You're overthinking it, Mr. Kensington, I whispered, my throat dry. Mia didn't sign off on this pregnancy. Ergo, the child couldn't exist. Mr. Kensington? You're calling me Mr. Kensington now? You've called me Carter since we were 16. Nora, what kind of game are you playing? I was too hollowed out to field his questions. Biting the inside of my cheek to ride out the dull cramping in my abdomen, I gently but firmly pushed his hands away. I just had surgery. Step back, Carter. You don't want to carry the smell of blood back to the house. It might upset Mia. He opened his mouth to snap back, but his eyes suddenly darted past me, locking onto the neckline of a nurse passing by the doorway. Around her neck hung the Star of the Atlantic, a breathtaking custom blue sapphire. It was the piece Carter had bought at auction for our first anniversary, the one he had stayed up nights resetting into a pendant himself. I used to treat that necklace like a holy relic. I kept it in a velvet vault, only daring to wear it at the most exclusive galas. But I didn't like it anymore, just like I didn't like Carter anymore, and just like I no longer liked the children we had made together. Carter's eyes went bloodshot. He looked around the clinic and suddenly realized the nurses and receptionists were wearing familiar things. My diamond studs, the Cartier tennis bracelet, the vintage hairpins. He realized my room at the estate had been systematically stripped of every gift he had ever given me. His hands began to shake. He stepped out into the hall, practically ripped the sapphire off the terrified nurse, and stormed back in, dangling it in front of my face. I made this for you. I stayed awake for 3 days drafting the goddamn bezel. And you just... I blinked slowly, sifting through the foggy memories. I think you're right. Good memory. All the blood rushed out of Carter's face, leaving him ash white. I was about to ask him to leave when rapid footsteps echoed in the hall. My eldest son, Noah, burst into the room, his face flushed with excitement. But the moment his eyes met my pale, exhausted face, he flinched, instinctively taking a step back. He lowered his voice, dropping it into a harsh, deliberate whisper. Dad, Auntie Mia is pregnant. I'm going to have a little sister. Carter's eyebrows shot up. A wave of uncontrollable joy washed over his face. This was what he had been waiting for, a child with a woman he truly loved. I sat there on the sterile bed, quietly watching the two of them share their profound, beautiful moment. Carter cleared his throat, suddenly looking uncomfortable, his voice dropping into a gentle cadence. Nora, Mia is... Before he could finish the sentence, I reached behind my neck and unclasped a cheap string of plastic beads I had worn every day for 4 years. I held it out toward Noah. Here, I'm giving this back to you, I said, my voice completely flat. And I'll take mine back. Noah's hand instinctively flew to his chest, clutching the silver St. Jude medallion hidden under his shirt. His voice trembled. What do you want that for? I prayed for that medal. I don't want you to have it anymore. When Noah was 5, he contracted a severe bacterial infection that nearly stopped his heart. I had never been a religious woman, but I drove to a remote monastery in the mountains, walking the last 3 miles on my knees until they bled, just to get that medallion blessed for him. The monks told me it would ward off evil. When I put it around his little neck, he held it like it was treasure. He had touched my bruised knees with his little hands, asking, "Does it hurt, Mommy? Noah will blow on it to make it better." Then, he had spent an hour stringing together those cheap plastic beads to make me a necklace in return. I had worn that plastic trash like it was worth more than the crown jewels. Now, looking at it, it just looked like exactly what it was. Cheap, worthless. Seeing my icy expression, Noah's face burned with a mix of shame and sudden, defensive anger. He slapped my hand away, sending the plastic beads clattering to the linoleum floor. Yanking the silver chain off his own neck, he threw the St. Jude medal at my feet. Who cares? Auntie Mia is getting me a custom platinum one anyway. I didn't even want to wear your stupid necklace anymore. I didn't say a word. I just leaned over the edge of the bed to pick up the silver medal. Before my fingers could brush the metal, Carter's expensive leather shoe slammed down on it. He loomed over me, his eyes dark and frigid. First you kill the baby, then you give away my jewelry. Now you're terrorizing a little boy for his good luck charm. His lip curled into a sneer. Do you honestly think playing the heartless, broken wife is going to make me kick Mia out? Don't hold your breath, Nora. The voice rang in my head again. Alert. Host. The male and female leads must be physically present at the moment of your death. Otherwise the final objective will fail. As the villainous ex-wife, your plot completion is currently at 99%. System rating S tier. You are one step away from freedom. I managed a faint, tired smile. 2. Looking back, the way I had completed these villainous tasks was deeply ironic. Even now, they genuinely believed I was a manipulative monster. When I snatched a cookie out of Noah's hand because Mia gave it to him, I was branded a jealous, bitter woman who couldn't stand seeing another woman love her son. No one believed me when I screamed that the cookie had peanut butter in it, and Noah was deathly allergic. Later, when I caught Mia having secret dinners with the CEO of Carter's biggest rival and tried to physically block her from entering Carter's RD server room, I was accused of being insecure, terrified that her brilliance would outshine mine. Carter and Noah trusted her blindly. Absolutely. Seeing my silence, Carter assumed he had hit the nail on the head. His anger flared again. You really hate me that much, don't you? Enough to butcher your own flesh and blood. He leaned in closer. Since you're so repulsed by the idea of being a mother, I'll do you a favor. I'm having the doctors tie your tubes before you leave this building. The father and son walked out together, leaving me to finally exhale. I was driven back to the estate and fell into a dead sleep. The next morning, the estate manager, Carson, woke me by banging on my door. It was time for the extraction. Martha, the head housekeeper who had been with me for years, looked on with tears in her eyes. Mr. Carson, please, the missus just had surgery yesterday. Her body is too weak. Can't the blood draw wait? Carson's face was a mask of stone. I walked out into the hall and shook my head at Martha, silently telling her to let it go. If Mia didn't get her daily transfusion of my RHNL blood, there was was no telling what kind of hell she would raise. I sat down in the medical chair and cleanly slid the 4-needle into my scarred, battered forearm. Watching the dark blood fill the tube, my mind drifted back to the very first time they took it from me. Carter and Mia had been childhood sweethearts, practically inseparable until Mia's family went bankrupt and moved away. They reconnected years later at a high society gala. Some sleazy investors had pressured Mia into drinking until she suffered severe alcohol poisoning and liver distress. She was rushed to the hospital, needing a massive transfusion of a hyper-rare blood type. Carter hadn't hesitated. He dragged me out of my bed while I was still doing my postpartum recovery for Noah.